Okay, welcome to my workshop. I want to show you how to melt a quantity of scrap silver in a crucible using a big plumbing torch, fundiendo plata, los restos de trabajo que producimos siempre cuando estamos cortando chapa y alambre. Whenever we're cutting sheet and wire, we're always producing a lot of scrap metal. It's still sterling silver. So here's a use for it, and I carve out a rough shape into a yeso block. That's a plaster block. Cast it in a Tupperware container, any Tupperware or whatever. You only want a block, and then you can carve into it using all sorts of different tools like cheap little chisels, or you could use a Dremel, So right now we're going to fire up, and when it comes time to pour cast, because I'm going to take this when it's absolutely red hot and molten, and I'm going to pour it into that thing, and of course my camera doesn't reach, so I'm going to try and grab the camera and show you, because I think this is great. It's a great use for your scrap, and you can actually carve any shape you want into your yeso, and you can just pour cast, without having to go to all sorts of lengths of doing lost wax and all these other complex ways of casting. So here we go, playing with molten silver. So here it goes. You have to warm the crucible as well. I've got quite a nice skinny, thinnish crucible, and actually that helps a lot, because when you try and melt down, unless you've got real good torches, I mean I've only got this, so I can't reach a huge temperature with it. But if I do it kind of in a well thought way, you can get there. It takes a while. And you've got to heat the crucible, so you build a kind of little oven with your fire stones. And as I did at the start, you can augment the heat by using a hand torch on the other side as well. So two torches going at the same time. But I just poured one successfully in another mold that I'd made a while back, and you can reuse these holes in the yeso. The yeso doesn't burn, Yeso is a wonderful thing to plaster. It's a wonderful thing to pour your molten silver into. Always use common sense when you're doing all this, Use the safety precautions that keep you safe. Sometimes you have to get in there and tweak. How do you know how much silver to melt? Well, guess it. And weigh something that's of a similar volume in your scales, your little jeweler's scales. There's a bit of silver from the last pour, look. weigh something of a similar volume or a similar design. Mine's going to be a real super chunky ring that I'm going to carve later with files and maybe the Dremel, and then I'm going to build on top of it, of the cast shank. I'm going to make quite a number, you know, maybe solder on some settings, big flashy stones, whatever. Just a bit of fun to experiment and go a bit wild, you know, and use your scrap. You got to be patient, as with everything in jewellery. So then on your scales, put something of similar volume on one side of your scales, then start adding your scrap metal in pieces until you hit the same weight, because it's all weight, it's all volume. Yeah. I don't know that we'll get the pour on film, but it's clear what I'm doing. And I'm also going to put on a real big glove to pick up these tongs, you know. And just put my hand in the glove now, and that's going to make it pretty hard to move the camera, so. Got my big glove on. Big glove, big glove. I suppose if I'd set this up different, I could have showed you the pour. I'm going to carve something else and pour, so we'll do another one, a smaller one, to show you. So I don't think I'll be able to adjust the camera as well as, because I got to keep the torch on the crucible and on the molten silver as I pour. It's got to be. It starts to go off. The minute the torch leaves the crucible, it starts to harden. So you have to keep your torch right there as you pour. So guys, you'll just have to imagine what I'm doing. I'm going to just migrate over to the mold. It's looking, I'm going to swoosh it around, see? Don't pour prematurely if it's still got hard lumps in the middle of solid silver. So there you go. That's really nice. Molten. I'm going to actually heat the crucible as well at the lip where I'm going to pour, and then I'm going to pour. Oh, torch went out. Okay. Well, that wasn't great. As I said, it starts to go off so quick. I'll have to, anyway, here we go. It's all experience. Let me take the glove off and show you. So, look, that was me, and partly it's because I'm filming. You know, I'm actually more together when I'm not filming. But you can see there that had I poured it more to here, it would have run round, and I didn't. And I poured it here, and it's gone up the way, and then it's gone solid because I've, you know. Anyway, there you go. Now look, that's really, really, really hot. Look. But you've made something solid, and I think that's an exciting process. You know, and even that as is, you can do things with it. So it's a way of getting different sorts of volume. Let's quench that in the water. It's a way of getting volume in your work that you just can't, it's very hard to get when you're using sheet and wire. So make yourself a little casting situation with your firestones. You know, you could build a little oven. That's what I'd like to do, so I can have a few bellows in there in a proper crucible and really get the heat up. But that's silver. Okay, it's very oxidized because that's the, you know, it's been molten. So, but how interesting is that? So hey, whatever you carve in your yeso, you can pour cast, and then you can file it up. Okay, hope you find that interesting. I sure do. Bye-bye.